Hi everyone. I'm not a doctor, but I'm a scientist in the NHS. And last year, I spoke about being an NHS worker and feeling horrified by the Israeli assault on healthcare. Many of my friends called me brave. Brave? It's not brave to stand in front of 1,000 people. It's not brave to stand shoulder to shoulder with my Muslim and my Arab siblings. It's not brave to say politicians' names aloud and hold them to account. I'll tell you what is brave. Standing by your patients when your hospital is being bombed. Protecting babies with tin foil when the power goes out. Standing up to Israeli sniper fire when your day job is saving lives. The nurses, doctors, lab technicians, physiotherapists, dentists, and all other healthcare staff who are working and were working in Gaza are heroes. Those who have been able to evacuate deserve our utmost love and respect. And those who have stayed deserve our complete solidarity. And those who have been arrested, the medical staff arrested from hospitals, deserve our urgent support. They are being tortured. They're being arrested for no crime other than for helping people. Because Israel has said every Palestinian is a terrorist. What does that mean? Why is there no outcry? Once again, politicians fail us. Our politicians are not brave. If they find the massing of their constituents intimidating, then that's their issue. We elect them. Their job and their only job is to represent us. So when we come, week after week, month after month, to peacefully ask them to stand up for a ceasefire, they need to listen. We are their constituents. We can and we will remove them from office in this general election. I'll say what I said last time. No more votes until we see moral clarity. No more support until we see real action. And no more respect until we see a free Palestine from the river to the sea. From the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free.
From the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free.
Thank you. Also a very small thing. Tonight in the Valleys, the Run the Cannon Taff Palestine Solidarity Campaign has organised a fundraiser for medical aid for Palestine and Medicine Sans Frontières. We're raising as much money as we can for health workers in Gaza. I've got some leaflets, so come and find me. If you're local to Cardiff, it's not far to go. We're just in Treforest. So everything anyone can do is so worthwhile. Thank you for having me.
Alright, so we've got quite a few speakers, so we're going to try and get through them before we march. First up, we've got Sundus. She's a Palestinian, she's a poet, she's just released a poetry book where some of the proceeds are being donated towards Gaza and towards Palestine, so she's going to come up and say a few words and hopefully a few poems.
Thank you very much, guys. I'm Sundus, I'm Palestinian, and I'm going to read you guys a few poems. So the first poem I'm going to read you guys is called The Betrayal of Our Hospitality, and I feel like when I've sat there and tried to think of a word about how I feel about this, and there is no word. There's no word in English, there's no word in any language, but the closest thing that can capture the feeling is the idea of betrayal and how stinking betrayal is. They say don't bite the hand that feeds you, but they didn't just bite it. They sunk their teeth in and tore it apart, dismembered it, took away its ability to even feed itself. They decided that wasn't enough. An arm, a leg, another limb, one hand soon turned into hundreds, then thousands, then millions. Rough hands, soft hands, wrinkled hands, and even those that are small, delicate and fragile. We were betrayed. So that was the first poem. And the next one, thank you very much, guys. And the next one is called Morning Routine, Is It Routine? And this was inspired by, I was just waking up every day and I felt so much guilt in my heart. And I was just comparing like my everyday just morning routine and just thinking about what's happening in Gaza and kind of just comparing it. And I tried to put that into, technical difficulties. Okay. I tried to put that into words. Wake up, shower, brush your teeth. Once you step out of the bathroom, you'll be met with grief. A mother holds her dead son. His face can barely be recognised. The tears start to well up and you look agonised. As you toss and turn the eggs in your pan, there's a video on your feed of people tossing guts into vans. Scrub the dishes as they try and scrub the blood away. Fairy liquid doesn't clear remnants of death in quite the same way. Time for your morning run. You run to bring yourself peace. But if they don't run, they'll be left in pieces. After your run, get into the shower. You flinch as the warm water touches your skin. They flinch as the bombs hit and collapse their whole building. It's a morning routine, but looking through the lenses will give you two completely different scenes. Thank you very much. And
so we've been talking about politics, about elections. People of Wales should be proud that Wales was one of the first countries to come out and to demand and call for a ceasefire. Now this was put forward and pushed at the Senate by Plaid Cymru, who have been very, very active and vocal for the Palestinian cause. So we're honoured today and grateful that we have Sinead Williams, the member of the Senate for South West Wales, joining us, and she's going to say a few words. So make some noise.
Diolch yn fawr, thank you very much. Rydyn ni yma heddiw I alw am heddwch. Rydyn ni yma I alw am gydoediad ar unwaith. Nawr, we are here today in solidarity with the people of Gaza to call for a permanent and immediate ceasefire. We are here to call for peace. We are here today to call an end to the slaughter, because that's what it is. The developing famine, the intolerable suffering, and an end to the silence of nations and governments, including our own, who should be leading these calls. As you heard, Plaid Cymru called on the Senate to back a motion for an immediate ceasefire last year. In that debate, we specifically drew attention to the killing and maiming of children and the terrible trauma that will scar the young forever. We gained cross-party support for that motion, the first parliament in the UK to call for an immediate ceasefire. And I have heard other politicians, Welsh politicians, say that vote was meaningless. It was not meaningless. We are not meaningless. I've written to the UK government as chair of the Senedd cross-party group on violence against women and children, highlighting the terrible figures that women, children and newborns in Gaza are disproportionately bearing the brunt of the escalation of hostilities, and urging ministers to utilise all levers to help deliver an immediate, sustainable, meaningful ceasefire, and to show public support for this call. Because at the heart of this conflict, we must remember it is the overwhelmingly innocent that are suffering. Where fighting has ceased, a wasteland is left. Homes, schools, universities, hospitals destroyed. This cannot continue. No, we have not been able yet to stop the terrible destruction and suffering. We have not been able to halt the terrifying escalation that now threatens, in the words of the UN Secretary General, to increase a humanitarian nightmare. How do you increase a nightmare? We will not be bystanders. That's why we stand here together today. Dyna pam I ni'n sefyll gyda'n gilydd yma heddiw. International law demands a ceasefire. Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! The children of Gaza demand an immediate ceasefire. Morality and humanity demands it. And we here today will continue to demand it. We must do what we can to bring hope. Hope for those who live here in Swansea, who have lost relatives and friends. Hope to those who feel the world has turned their backs on justice. Because it's by standing together, taking strength from our combined hope, that we can work together for a better future for the people of Gaza. And the better future must start with a ceasefire, and it must start now.
This is the type of politician we need leading our country, not these corrupt Labour or Conservatives. So we got a couple of speakers, a few more speakers, and then we're going to leave. So first I want to introduce my little sister, who I'm very proud of, and she's going to say a few words. Then we've got Rosie, one of our youngest activists here in Swansea at 16, coming out every week and speaking. Then we've got the Dr. Hammer, and then after that we've got Hussein from Black Lives Matter in Cardiff, and then we will proceed with the march, and then after the march we'll have more speeches as well.
It's difficult to find the words, but we're all here for the same reason. And it's important to share the stories, to share and to hear from Palestinians like Sundus and others who've spoken to you today. It's important that we're here, so thank you all for being here week on week on week. Prior to 1948, the Gaza district contained almost 90 towns and villages. It was 38 times the size of the current 140 square mile strip, making it the largest district in Mandate Palestine. Following 1948, Gaza absorbed around 25% of Palestinian refugees exiled from their homes, increasing its population from 80,000 to 280,000. That number, as you all know, has grown today to 2.2 million. Those people are predominantly refugees and children who depend on food aid for survival. And as you know, Israel has imposed a land siege and a naval blockade on Gaza, sealing it off into an effective prison, placing Gazans on a subsistence diet just above starvation, relegating Gaza to unbearable conditions, and then systematically pummeling it with advanced weapons technologies in a bid to take the land without the people. When Israel withdrew its settlers and military infrastructure from Gaza in 2005, it maintained its effective control over the population, over the registry, over the skies, over the underground water sources, the electromagnetic spheres, and all points of entry and exit. And thus it remains under international law an occupying power with the duty to protect the civilians of Gaza. Now imagine all of your land has been occupied, and bit by bit your states have openly declared their genocidal intentions, and still the world is debating, denying that what Israel is doing amounts to genocide. Over 60,000 people wounded, more than 2 million of the 2.2 million displaced. Over 70% of housing units in Gaza have been destroyed. 70%. Astronomical figures, and they speak for themselves. According to the UN, more than 90% of the population in Gaza faces acute food insecurity. As I'm saying these figures, guys, I'm just thinking of Swansea. And imagine 90% of Swansea, if it makes it easier for you to imagine, facing acute food insecurity.
Over 570,000 people in Gaza are facing catastrophic hunger. Gaza is starving. And history bears witness today and every day. And as this campaign continues, our government still approving arms licenses to Israel's military. Since 2015, our government has made arms sales to Israel worth £474 million, including parts of F-35 fighter jets, described by the company that makes them as the most lethal aircraft in the world. In this election year, and I've said it before, we must call right, let our MPs know, who seem to think that this issue will not impact them in this election, that this is the issue. I have one message for them. No ceasefire, no vote. No ceasefire, no vote. No ceasefire, no vote. Never again means never again for anyone. Thank you.